Hello everyone. Welcome back to the channel. Miss Crochet and Coffee here, and today we're doing another Cricut craft. Now, the Cricut craft that we're going to do are the little artist canvas. Now, I don't really have a name for this because I kind of made it up. So, as you guys know, I'm new to my Cricut, and I'm in quite a few Cricut groups on Facebook, and when I had asked around to see if anybody had done this, to see if this was possible to do, I got no answers. So I decided I'm just going to do it because that's the joy of crafting, is trial and error. So what you're going to need for this project: a canvas. Now, I'm using an 8x10 canvas. You don't need to use an 8x10 unless if you want to make it bigger, that's up to you. But I'm using an 8x10 canvas. I'm also going to use two types of vinyl. I'm not going to do layering in this video. That will be another video. So I'm just going to use two types of vinyl. One is going to be the base, and then one is going to be the accent color. So the base is going to be this blue, and then the accent is going to be this yellowy gold color. So when I go to cut my design out, I'm going to cut it out on this and then put it on this. So this sheet is iron-on. This sheet is permanent. Now you have to have at least one permanent to make as your base, because that's what's going to stick to the canvas. So my permanent vinyl is the blue, and then the iron-on vinyl is going to be this goldish yellow. And then I'm also going to use a Teflon sheet. This is highly important because you don't want to have your easy press or your heat machine touching the permanent vinyl because it will melt it. So you want to have a Teflon sheet. And I got this one out of my Arteza vinyl that I ordered from them. So you're also going to need an easy press or some kind of heat machine, of course, because you're using iron-on material. So you're going to need whatever you use for iron-on for this project. You're also going to, of course, need a Cricut. It can be a Cricut Joy, Mini, Maker, whichever one you decide to make or use. I'm using my Explorer Air 2 today. You're also going to need a design. Now, the design I'm going to do, I got off Etsy. I will link where I got it. But this is the design that I chose for this project. Okay. So we're going to take and make this on here. So we're going to go ahead and cut that out. Okay. So as you can see, the design is cut. So we're going to put this off to the side. The next thing you're going to need to do, we're going to move the tablet out of the way because we're done with that for right now, is you're going to need to cut down your permanent vinyl, because now this permanent vinyl comes in a 12x12 sheet. So what I need to do is I need to cut it down so that it fits this. And I don't want all that excess on the back, right? So what we're going to do is I'm going to just kind of pinch it where it fits here. I'm going to make sure it folds over evenly on both sides. I'm going to kind of pinch it there to kind of give myself a guide. We're also going to get that out of the plastic. So we're just going to get that out of the plastic there. We're going to, and you can use a measuring mat, like the one you use for cutting. You can use that. So when I put my 12x12 on here, I'm going to cut it to the number 7, which I don't know if you can see that. So if you look down here on the mat, there's numbers. So I'm going to go to the number 7 and cut. So you see that's essentially where that second line is right here. So then I'm going to get my cutter and I'm going to cut it. And like I said, I pinched it just to give myself a guide so I knew where to cut it at. So I'm going to take my vinyl. And again, you're doing this with the permanent vinyl. And you can tell the permanent from the iron-on because it's not, the backing of it is white and not clear. If it's iron-on, you'll see a clear backing. If it's permanent or any other kind of vinyl, it'll have like an opaque type backing like this. So you want to make sure it's the permanent vinyl that you're cutting here. And we're going to go ahead and cut that. You're going to leave a little shred of piece you can save for another project. And there you have it. While I'm doing that, I am going to preheat my iron. Now, this is the part that, like I said, I'm still new to this. So this is the part that's a little bit tricky. Now, when I preheat my vinyl or my iron, I preheat it to 275. And I usually iron it on for about 15 seconds, okay? So what we're going to do now is we have to weed out that design. So we're going to first cut off all the excess. So we're going to cut off as much of the excess as we can, because you don't want too much excess whenever you're getting ready to put it on there. So we're going to cut off the excess. And of course, you save those extra pieces for whenever you're doing other projects. So we're just going to make sure we're not cutting the design here. And I'm going to put my scraps off to the side here so that I can use them for something else. And then we're going to weed it. I'm going to speed this part up because it can be a little tedious, and I see I'm going to have some issues. So we'll be right back. All right, so when you're done weeding, when you go to cut out your project, as you saw, I had a little bit of trouble there because the setting wasn't right. I put this on glitter vinyl, and I probably should have put it on regular vinyl. Again, I'm still new to this, but it has glitter on it, so I assumed it was glitter. It wasn't as thick as glitter, so just watch your settings. You also want to make sure you have all your pieces. And if that does happen to you, you just have to very carefully weed it. And then if something moves out of place, luckily the plastic holds the shape where it's supposed to be at. And you can just take that shape and put it back if you can find it. Or you might have to recut it if it's like a big enough shape or it got destroyed or something. But luckily, I'm only missing like 1 or 2 little pieces. I'm not too worried about it. So the next thing you're going to do is you're going to measure again. So you want this to sit in the center of your canvas. So what you're going to do, and we already have the creases for where it folds over here. So then what we're going to do is we're going to put that on there and make creases for the top and bottom. So essentially you just want to measure the top and bottom. And I only do the creases. I'm pretty sure somebody will have another way to do it better than that, but this is just how I do it. So in the actual permanent vinyl, you see there's a clear indication of where essentially the middle is. So then you're going to fold it in half. Put it at the top and bottom. And then if something doesn't line up correctly, you can always pull it up. Just be really careful, especially if you had a problem like I did where I cut it too deep. So just pull it up if it's not centered. And just make sure you center it. So we're just going to try to not touch the thing until I want to sit it down. And then there. So we have that centered. Now, still looks a little off, but there we go. So now that you have it centered on there, what you're going to do is this is where you're going to need your Teflon sheet. And I say a Teflon sheet because I don't think that like the parchment paper that comes with like the ink fusion will work. So I would highly recommend getting a Teflon sheet. I'm pretty sure you can find them on Amazon. If I find them, I will link them down in the description box of the video. And now we have our iron. Again, our iron is set to 275 for 15 seconds. So what we're going to do, we're going to put it on there and start our timer. We're going to let that count down. We're going to apply our little pressure. And if this doesn't work and you go to pull it up and the iron-on does come up with the plastic, you want to put it back on and put it on for another 5 seconds. So we're just going to let it on there. We're not going to move it around. So that first 15 seconds, I didn't move it around this time. I'm just going to move it back and forth to kind of rub it on there. Rub that design on that permanent vinyl. Now you want to make sure that the heat source, again, doesn't come in direct contact with the permanent vinyl. It will melt it if it comes in direct contact. So then 15 seconds is up. So we're going to go ahead and move that. And we're going to move the Teflon sheet off. Be careful, it will be warm. And as you can see, there's bubbles in the plastic. So we're going to let that cool for a few seconds there. Now, I usually take my tweezers and do this. And not all vinyl needs to cool. Some of the vinyl does tell you you can peel when it's hot. So with this vinyl, I will usually try to peel when it's hot. So I'm just going to try to peel it to see if it'll stay down. And again, you're just going to do real slow, take it off just to make sure everything's stuck down. Okay, the plastic's not hot anymore. Just real slow because you don't want to mess up that design. There we go. Real slow. Boom. So it's on there. Now, every once in a while, you will get these little creases in your permanent vinyl. I'll show you in a few minutes how to get rid of those. You can either take an X-Acto knife and kind of smooth that out, or you can just leave it. So the next thing is applying this to that. How do we get that on there? So first things first, we're going to peel off a small portion of the back, okay? So we're going to peel off a small portion here. And sometimes this takes me a few minutes just because of how they have it stuck on there. All right, here we go. So I'm not going to pull the whole thing off, okay? I'm going to pull it off to about halfway. I'm going to make sure it's laying flat on the table there. Make sure it's laying flat. And then I'm going to take my canvas, and I'm essentially going to take the canvas to the edge, put it down. And I'm putting it down like this because then that lets the permanent vinyl adhere to the backing of the canvas. And then I'm going to flip it up. Now, if you happen to notice that it's not on there straight or you want to straighten it, permanent vinyl isn't permanent right away. So, and we can actually fold this down. So we can fold that to keep that in place. So you're going to measure it I'm measuring just pure eyesight. So I'm just going to measure it to make sure it's equal on both sides for me. And then you're going to do it again. You're going to lay that backing down. And then you're just going to lay it like this. Now, what I like to do is I like to apply a little pressure as I'm pulling the backing off, just so that it's nice and taut whenever you put it on your canvas. And it'll come off just like that, and you take that back and you can throw that away. And then we're going to fold this up, okay? Now, we're only doing this to two sides for right now, and you'll see why. So, now that we have that on there, and we have both sides essentially here, down here, now you're going to leave this like this, and you're going to check your design. You want to make sure your design is in the center. You want to make sure you're happy with it. There's no bubbles or anything like that on it. And as you can see, there's nothing on it. It looks great. So then what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and adhere the rest of the sides down. So you're going to need a pair of scissors for this part. All right. So then what you're going to do is how you have this folded down. We're going to bring it down a little bit so you can see what I'm doing. So when you fold this down, you'll see there's kind of like a 3-wall square there. So you see how there's like 3 corners, 1, 2, 3. You're going to cut in the creases. So right there on the corner there and right there. So you're going to make 2 cuts, okay? So I made one at this crease here, 1 cut here, and then 1 cut here. So right at the edges, you're going to make the cuts. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold down where I made the cut. So you can see that cut there, and then there's the side. So I'm going to lay down this flat one, or we can lay down either side first. It doesn't matter which side you lay down. You want to just make sure it's laid down nice and flat. You're going to do the same thing for all 4 corners. So we're going to make 2 cuts right at the corners of the canvas. And if it sticks to itself, don't worry, it's not permanent right away, like I said. So we're just going to make those cuts. And those cuts are just simply so that you can fold down and adhere this to the canvas. So what we're going to do, again, we're going to take that first cut. We're going to press it down. Now, if it's really long like that and it sticks to the other side, that's okay. You can trim it down if you want, or you can just leave it. I usually just leave it. And then once you get 2 sides already cut and pushed down, so I have these 2 sides pushed down already, then I'm going to take that big flap and fold it over, okay? So we're just going to fold that over so it's nice and flat. We're going to straighten it out to make sure there's no air bubbles or creases in it. Nice and flat. Boom. One side completely done, down flat. And we're going to do the same thing with the other side. So we're going to fold back those two sides. So I usually like to fold down the side one first. Get you up a little bit. So we're going to fold down that side. Pull that back a little bit. Push that down. And you can't fold that crease over until you get all of them folded. So you want to make sure you get all of them folded, and this is trying to stick to itself. So we're going to get that side one down first. So push that side down. Then we're going to bring this side up and push it down. And then we're going to take this and fold it up. There we go. And again, we're going to smooth it out. We're just going to make sure there's no bubbles or anything in it. Now, this is permanent vinyl. So after leaving this on here for a couple of days, it won't move. And because you won't be constantly adjusting it or messing with it, there you have it. This is how I make those beautiful canvases that everybody's been talking about. So, what do you think? Is that easy enough for you? Go ahead and leave a comment down below if this was helpful to you. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any other questions, comments, or concerns about this project, please, again, leave them down in the comment section below, and I will answer them to the best of my abilities. Stay tuned if you would like to see some more Cricut crafts, because there will be plenty coming to the channel. I had a lot of fun making this. I loved like the trial and error of doing this. So yes, I can't wait to make more of them. So thank you again for watching. If you're new to the channel and have yet to subscribe, please feel free to hit that subscribe button and the bell to be notified anytime I randomly decide to put up a video. And believe me, it's random. But with that said, folks, I must now bid you adieu. But not before reminding you to always try to wash your hands, don't touch your face, keep your 6 feet, and always try to be kind, be courteous, be cool. Bye, guys.